And even
women self-select out of work more than men.
And even if you
when you say self-select,
tech is a male-dominated thing, but when it first came out, it was a lot. Women did it, and it was a very, very underpaid sector. As soon as more men gravitated towards it, it's like, oh, it's so difficult. It's so intense.
Yeah, biology.
Biology.
If you've got a kid that's 2 weeks old, they need their mother more than they need their father.
So there is a gender pay gap. Do you think? But a lot of the time, like, people say, oh, it's not fair, and a lot of men are arguing, but it's because of the lifestyle choices that women make. So, for example, up until the age of 30, I think
lifestyle will give birth to you.
Yeah. No. I think that up until the age of 30,
choices.
Yeah. So we made a choice. Yeah. So pregnancy affects women. So up until the age of 30, I think that
but men can't do it. So I don't understand what we're supposed to do. I don't understand.
Yeah. So my thing is,
but even in that, it's the fact that it's assumed that the woman wants to have children anyways, way before that she even says, yeah, I'm pregnant. So it's like a lot of times is in the payment of women, it's like you already assume because I'm a woman, I'm a risk already. So that's unfair, because I could be like, you know, if God forbid, you don't know if something, I can't actually have kids, you know that, but you've assumed that already and limit my pay because of that.
The main reason why they limit a woman's
I think it's up until the age of 30. Don't quote me on this. I think it's up until the age of 30, women out earn men, but then after that age, it declines, and that is because of things like child rearing, and on top of that, the choices that women make in careers. So you might find men go to one sector more that would earn more money, whereas women in general are nurses more, which would earn less money. Or
but
women,
isn't that within each sector anyway? So like putting aside like the career choices that women make as nurses, or like, I'm not taking nurses specifically, but like in any given field, the men in that field will still earn more. It's not like a net.
Do you know what there are? Like, they've uncovered in a lot of businesses actually that is going on in the same business, and men are out earning the woman. But then men also argue though that they earn more for the company, or that they get more clout and this and that. And then you kind of, it's a lot deeper than it is at surface level. So let's say with the BBC that happened, so the white men were earning more, but then at the end of the day their shows were getting more views, so their shows were pulling in more for the BBC.
But then it comes back to equal opportunity. Of course their shows are going to pull in more views. They're white, straight British men. They have that advantage before they even decided what show they want to do.
So should that be adjusted? Should it be a standardized thing with the BBC?
I don't even know what the resolution is, because this is not something I'm very privy to be honest, economically. But that's just an example again of that. They already have that advantage, and so to say for a white man to stand there and say, yes, but my show pulls in more views, that's not because you're more talented. It's not even necessarily because you're more funny. It's not even necessarily because your idea is better. It's literally because you're a white man. So for you to then use that as a justification, as an actual defense to kind of give your argument legs to stand on, you're offending me now. Like, am I supposed to say, yeah, you know, you're right? No.
Initially, I thought the gender pay gap existed as a result of, you know, the way society was before. So the men would work more, women would stay at home more, and obviously they would be the sole
nowadays.
But that's changed now, so that needs to rebalance to kind of fit society more now.
So like in terms of like the pay gap, so there's of course like women do actually take more time out of work when they have children. And say you take 2 years, like you might be entitled to a year, like obviously it's going to vary by where you work, but a year maternity pay. But that's maternity pay like on your salary. But if you had stayed and worked there, you would have progressed. So it's like think of how far like you could get in your career in 2 years. Take that time out, you haven't had that progression. So like that, I actually don't know how we tackle that, because the like as from a business standpoint, you can't just go giving women promotions.
I think that there should be better maternity packages. I think that men should get better paternity packages.
Men should get better.
Because why should women take time off? Or why should women just take time off for child rearing when two people make the child?
2 weeks,
and then
2 weeks off. That's it.
So it's shared.
So it's not, and it's not just one person's career taking a hit because they had the baby. Obviously, for biological reasons, women breastfeed and all of that. But then in terms of actually caring for the child, it shouldn't be just a woman's role. I think that I feel like I was reading about coding which is now a male-dominated, tech is a male-dominated thing. But when it first came out, it was a lot, women did it, and it was a very, very underpaid sector. As soon as more men gravitated towards it, it's like, oh, it's so difficult, it's so intelligent, and now it's a really high-paid thing. So just the fact, the way that we gender certain careers affects the outcome of the pay. So nursing now, when women couldn't work, who was the nurses? Nursing now is not progressing. If you look at, I think it's in 10 years or since 2010, the pay hasn't increased at all. And I think once you start gendering careers, they don't earn as much. And then obviously when it comes to government sector jobs, they don't earn as much. And men, from little, men gravitate more towards the messy jobs, the engineering, the finance, and you kind of nurture women into, or little girls into, you know, more caring jobs, which is unfortunately undervalued by society. I think that we need to be a bit more realistic in the way that we pay women. Obviously, I'm not like a sociologist or anything like that, so I don't know. But those are the things that I think contribute to the gender pay gaps.
Yeah.
There's
Go on. There's some countries now that are trying to, I think we were talking about before, some countries that are trying to get more men to stay for longer. I think it is that thing of society, I guess, seeing women as more of the nurturers, and, you know, biologically speaking, they need to breastfeed, and then that thing of women need to bond with their children a lot more because obviously he grew in the belly for 9 months, she gave birth. But there's also that importance, I think, placed on, in certain contexts. For example, I know a man in my church adopted 2 kids with his wife, so by law he has to stay with the child off work for about 6 months. So I think in like,
the child is
so they can bond.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, I guess because it's not a biological child, the need or the importance to bond is more emphasized. But I think that
doesn't
should be
even
more,
make sense
that
to
should
me,
be
to
more
be honest.
normalized.
Because if I've carried the baby for 9 months and it is literally sucking on my breast, I think it is you, sir, who needs to do the bonding. It's not the mother. So that, like, I don't. Do you know what I mean? Like that. That's not even logical to me.
Yeah.
I think as well as like having children, I think one thing that we haven't touched upon is that, first of all, men are better at asking for what they want.
I was just gonna say that.
Much
So
negotiating.
salaries.
Much better.
Men negotiate salaries better, and a lot of this actually just does come down to how men and women are raised.
Socialised,
we touched on like the careers that we strive for, but even in the work environment and just generally relationships.
Okay.
Asking for
Do you know
deserve.
what? Do you know the point that you made?
But even beyond that, it also another factor is how women are received. So just like how like we've spoken quite a bit about how like we're received as black people, as women as well. Like you, like in the workplace, you're so much more likely to be undermined. And not
I was just gonna say, I feel like if a
Yeah.
man walks into a room and then asks his boss, "This man is looking at this like this is another man," like you can go head to head. When a woman approaches, and I think women internalize this as well. They're approaching, even if it's not a man, even if it's just a figure of authority, even if it's just a superior, it could be another woman. I think the way we approach the situation is a lot more passive. Do you think it would be possible?
So sometimes,
not all the time. This is
sometimes,
generalization. Not all the time.
And sometimes it's actually just how we're received as well. Sometimes it's actually just how we're received, and so like, and you have women in the workplace who feel like they need to like wear heels every day to be taken seriously. Like there's so much to it. There's actually this pay gap thing. There's so we unpicked a lot, and there's probably still even more.
Do you know what? Can I add a point to it?
It comes down to negotiating pay rises. It comes down to pitching. It comes down to presenting ideas. If you're not taking it seriously, how can you get that big show that makes all the money?
Do you think that, okay, so having said that negotiating salaries accounts for it, do you think that we should be allowed to or not, or should it be standardized? And the reason why I'm asking is because I feel like if you can negotiate your salary, that means that your boss or whoever can decide who gets a bigger or smaller one, and that would show in their biases. So with women, we're more agreeable, we're more passive, we might not be so assertive, and that could account for the gender pay gap. What about when it comes to race? Because black people are paid less. Is it because black people are more agreeable? Is it because the bosses don't like black people as much and have that flexibility? Once you give an employer flexibility, their biases can show in how they pay their staff.
But this is, you know what we're saying about, it's very complex. So for example, people who articulate themselves better are naturally going to be seen as smart. And I see it amongst students. You have children, and because they read a lot, so they're very articulate. that they're not they don't have a greater propensity to learn, or a greater necessarily a stronger ability to do certain things. But you have this idea in your head because of how they are able to communicate. There's certain people that are considered more attractive. It works in advantage, and a lot of this, and I think we really underestimate how much of our subconscious contributes to these things. So people will go into a room and they'll like you. They don't know why. They take to you. There's something about it, or like our spirit. It can go down to something as what should be as insignificant as the fact that your face is more symmetrical. You know what I mean? I think we do underestimate a lot of this, and how much we don't actually have control over, and how much we can't actually influence.
And like you said, it's biased though, and it's but like so me as someone who I am articulate, but I will walk, like in my past job where the office was like 400 strong and there was like max 20 black people like in the office, like I will speak to people like this and I'll have white people come and be like, yo bruv, and they'll come in, oh what have you seen, what was that film Ice Cube's son?
Don't know me.
NWA.
Yeah.
Okay,
Straight Out
Compton. Straight Out
Compton comes out. Like 5 people that say, "Oh, you seen Straight Out?" No, I haven't seen Straight Out Compton actually.
And even if I have, I'm gonna lie and say I haven't, just to shame you.
Yeah, and so
that's what I always say. No, like I think someone came up to me because I was listening to I was listening to music and it's just like, oh, is it gangster rap? And I was like, I actually know it's Kirk Franklin. It's gospel. So I was like, why? It is true because you do have that perspective of black people already. So it'll be hard I think, for black people to negotiate salaries. And I don't think as black people, you know, it's not really taught, like for us, we don't really learn these kind of things. Whereas I think white people, in terms of family, they'll be like, here's how to do it because they're a bit more aware. Whereas like for me, my family, my dad never said, this is how you negotiate. I don't think he has ever negotiated his salary.
I think a lot of us talk about what can be done by the people receiving the salary. You need to teach. We need to talk to the people who are deciding on these salaries, like in things like training, especially in these big corporations, and especially in a place where a lot of things are shifting and people are advocating more openly and more aggressively for what they believe in. We're doing our part now. We're doing what we're doing. We now need to also start addressing the fact that there's only so much I can do. Training, you need to sit down and you need to tell these bosses, white, black, whatever they come from, you need to sit down and say, you need to be very aware and you need to do a lot of introversion and really assess, okay, I've made this decision, this is my decision. Now let me really think about why I've made this decision. Let me really unpack why I've made this decision, because a lot of it goes down to what we can do to do this and what we can do to do that, and ultimately this goes beyond professional environments. This is about people's personal socialization, their upbringing. This is about where they have their environments, where have they worked before they came here. Do you know what I'm saying? And so you have to look at it beyond what we can literally do in the present and now, and how we can we need to start reconditioning. It goes beyond.
If there was a vote that said should salaries, because now that we know that employers' bias can show in how they give out salaries, would you say that salaries should be negotiable, or that they shouldn't be?
I think salaries should be negotiable.
I think they should be.
But I think that so salaries are secret. And it's not that I should like be able to come up to you, my colleague, and be like, oh, how much do you earn? And like,
I think you should.
Because no, but I don't think.
I don't owe it to you for you to know.
And so it's not necessarily that.
I want to know if I'm underpaid, to be honest, because I want to know if I'm doing the same output as this person.
Yeah, that's what there should be systems and processes in place.
Exactly, there should be ways to do it, because like all these kind of like, and then he's like, she earns $2,000 more than me.
It's messy, man. Like, that's long.
Yeah, why not get messy though? Because if I'm putting out, I don't care how I assert myself.
Because you know what it is, I shouldn't have to justify my salary to anyone.
You know, I won't attack you though. But I would be like,
I don't feel like anyone has the right to ask me. Do you know what I mean? But you should be able to ask someone. But I don't think anyone should be able to walk up to me in my place at work.
I don't understand why me speaking to my boss for 5 minutes determines my thing. I think it should be based on my outcome. 100%. So if Sally,
you don't get what you deserve.
I know, but that's why I want to know. So if Sally is earning something, why wouldn't I be able to like, if we both have the same output and everything, we're both doing the same for the company, we're both doing very well, why shouldn't I be able to say to my boss, but she earns 5k more than me?
You should be able to say to your boss, you should definitely that. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I just think it's a case of, of how it's done.
I think just going back to the point we were making before about black people negotiating and stuff, I think sometimes it's that thing of we're very like underprivileged already, so getting your foot in the door, getting that job, is like, you know, so even to now go and say,
you don't even want to play games.
You don't want to do anything messy in terms of, right, you need to change. Like I have a friend who recently started a job, and like 2 weeks into the job started adding more responsibility to his tasks and stuff, and he's like, therefore obviously his pay should change, but he's now like, if he mentions that to his boss, it might create some awkwardness, might create some animosity, you know, and then perhaps he won't like pass his probation, and you know, so I think black people
should get done after probation.
I
personally, because obviously for me, I'm still on probation, so there's certain things I can't, you know, ask for.
But do you feel like your white counterpart would do that?
You can't ask for a pay rise on probation.
No, like if not a pay rise, not a pay rise, but if they add extra responsibilities to what you were originally meant to do, and you're now doing more than your job actually.
I think I'll hold it out until I pass probation. I think I'll continue to do it until I pass probation. I'll be like, okay, well, so can we discuss the work you have been giving me for the last 2 months? And then that's how I can negotiate it. But I think probation is a very sticky place to do it, because it's not, you're technically not really permanent like that. So I'll
and sometimes I feel sometimes you have to balance between adjusting your behavior between how the world ought to kind of behave and how the world does actually operate. You need to balance. You know when to discern. Okay, I'm now going to work in line with how the world ought to be. Okay, in this situation, I'm going to work in line with how the world currently is. And it's just finding a balance between that and making those adjustments so that you're steadily making progression and, you know, and contributing to change, but you're not doing it at a detriment to like your well-being and ultimately surviving in the world that we live in.
And also how it actually works in the working world is often before you get the promotion, you're already doing that job. Like it's not like you get a promotion and you take a leap and see if you do it. You progressively work towards it, and now you're
once you've proven yourself, you get that.
So it often just works like that anyway.
And I feel like that's with everything in life, isn't it? Not just your career, like just even
there are more women self-selecting out of high status jobs than men.
I'm going to leave this to the stats boys.
I'm going to leave it to y'all.
Everything around us is tech. So because it's revenue generating.
But it was generating revenue because that was how new technology came.
If you look at the top 10 companies now in terms of market cap, 6 or 7 are tech companies. That wasn't the case 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
If you completely remove negotiation, then
we're done.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'd agree with that statement.
It's your statement.
I was getting frustrated only because outside of work, this just can't run.